talkative um, in real life. And I guess I'm talkative if I'm making a stream. I guess I have this sort of idea in my head of this sort of streaming like online presenter personality. Like I can imagine the shape of it, but then I go to talk and I'm like, don't actually know what I'm gonna say. It's like I don't know if you spend ages listening to a podcast. It's like really funny, and then I'll go to talk to friends, kind of like I want to sort of like talk like the podcast, but then realize that I don't have the words in my head. Like I just have the pattern. So today, good segue. I am working on the memory management for Nova, and I kind of like coda trapped myself into it, where I was just like, oh, I'll just fix this one thing, and then I was like, oh, I'll just fix this other thing as well. But I think I just needed to have a bit of time doing something that I liked, or like that was for me. Like I feel like I've just been doing a lot of like background stuff, and the memory management, it's like a core part of Nova, and I want it to work better. Also trying out having two cameras there. But that's kind of just a fun little, you know, indulgence. Very tired, as usual. Got heaps of shit to do. But first code. Did a little like stream with my friend yesterday, which was kind of cool. It's this now. Alright, hang on. Turn that off. It's fine. Oh, it's a rocky start this morning. I'm very tired. Hoping that this just works. I was kind of working on it yesterday. So basically, like, I've got this summary system that it almost works really well. It just passes through combos, summarizes them, and creates like a stack of summaries on top of. But things are getting summarized twice and muddying the data, which I'm realizing is because of an extra thing. Basically, like I'm triggering a summary on top of the existing summary here, which if you open a conversation twice, starts the summary twice. So I'm going to have to, so I've got this like set of cleanup functions that like I can't keep running these functions like it's because it's something I've never struggled with something like this before, like over the life cycle in the way that I have. So I think like the life cycle of the document essentially is being affected by these different functions. So it's like, the summary's running, but then if you restart the page, the summary runs again, but it doesn't block itself. So it's like, I guess it's a long-term shared object, like struct, like, data. It's a data object, like everything is, that's persistent and highly writable. So it's kind of harder than I've done before because it's like it's being written to by another user, which is like the AI in parallel. But like normally I'm pretty good at like writing the safeguards to stop, stuff getting doubled up. Maybe it's because the actual process takes so long. I've just never worked with something like that. It takes longer than the life cycle of the server sometimes because I'll terminate the server. But it should account for that. That's the thing, is that so like I need to figure out how to handle that. And that's why I don't want to let it go, I guess. So what I've just done is reset everything down to summary level 2. So like that's basically the first like batches of summaries. So it's like summary chunks are like raw text summarized, and then those get put together and summarized, and that's level 2, or epoch 2 I was calling it, which doesn't make sense really. So it sets the state. Summarize messages. It won't do much because there shouldn't really be new messages. But then it'll go summarize epochs. So it'll like batch all the summaries at the same level until they get to a certain size, and then they'll batch the next level. Point being is it tries to keep summary chunks at the same level of detail together. So if a part of a new conversation started, it would get it would get summarized together with the whatever level of detail the summary chunks in the past rest of the conversation were, and then a new top level summary for that combo would exist, which would then get batched in with other low level summary combos, like, you know, so high detail. So it's like more recent, if it's more recent, it's higher detail. And it's got this unsummarized cliff at each level of detail that I can see it in my head, but it's hard to explain it. And it might be shit. So now, if I've got I do have it running. So if I go debug summary equals true, what's going to happen is it's going to start the summary process. Because it's like all the level 2. So I basically wiped all the everything above it. Here we go. Okay, no it's not, I guess. Okay, so I'm not sure why that didn't happen the first time. But yeah, I've got this like running gate here. Oh, what happened? Yeah. So So what does this mean? So checking summaries for the first time is so because it finds messages that aren't summarized into a combo summary. Found single summary candidate is like that conversation's peak. I definitely need to. I want to improve like the like terminology and everything like that here, but like, okay, so now we're summarizing something. I want to get the baseline version of the old system working so that I can properly assess it. Like the stuff that's not working about it is mistakes I've made. Maybe I shouldn't start streaming until like I've talked for an hour or something because I definitely. If you see here that those are batches of summaries, right? like I'm wondering if like I'm going about it wrong in the sense maybe different summary modes at different levels of detail. Like it's like, okay, top level summarize the raw stuff this way, but then like maybe a summary of summaries is it's better to pull out like an index or something like. All right, so now it's like it's working through. Hey, sick. All right, yeah. So it's like works through these epochs, and like if they're overloaded, it summarizes them, which takes them up to the next epoch, which then might overload or not. So like keeps. Oh, it's so hard to explain what I mean with that, honestly. Hmm. Okay, so now I could probably call that functional, and I can work on how it's presented to the AI. So this basically builds the prompt out of this. Like it interprets the data that's there, and this is like the interpreter. So I go here. So there's definitely an issue with the dates and how they're passed up. Maybe? No, not really, because it's like, okay, these are all... Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, I see. So it's putting this to the start of this is like all the summary stuff has this title, right? So because it's not, I'm storing the logs in there. So I think I could say, okay, so if there's an overview, I can actually go like, I can go, actually I can do this to start with, and then I can go, that's interesting, why is it doing that? It doesn't need to. But I can say, like, So I can overview of topics. And then I can add something like this. Okay. Expand query. So I think it's read and query. And then, pardon me. Okay, so that's gonna give them this. Recent conversations. Overview of topics. Read, and then if they go read, overview. Maybe I just don't give it the functionality like I've got with the dates here for now. And that way it's like, here's your recent conversations, open notes. Technically these are pinned notes. Okay, so let's have a look at how it looks now. So it should get through the whole summary cycle really quickly because there's no changes. recent conversations, maybe I'll call it past conversations, right? Past conversations. And then I think I might put it below or above the notes, which will then make it a lower priority because I feel like GPT like kind of prioritizes things in reverse order. Like what's most recent to it is lower in the thread. So we go recent conversations, past conversation. I don't know how this is getting in there. Open notes. Oh, okay, so I just didn't Look at that. So this just, yeah, turns off the like... Guess it doesn't need that. Okay. So... So loading was how I was stopping it from rewriting, I guess. Which is interesting. Summarize messages by combo, and it says get the log. If the log is loading, return. So in the chat, I've got this I'm doing some stuff for work that's like managing like headsets remotely. Fuck. Okay. Project, staying tree, Okay, game state. Ah, cool. I thought it was like had restarted the session. I guess not. That's fine.
Mm.
So it's like, so here it's got like a lot of the conversations have like multiple layers of summary on top of them. Is that just each time I leave the conversation and come back and then this has no summary? Because it's epoch summarize. Okay, summarize messages is these guys, which then run handle convo summary. So it's a different summary flow. So maybe that's better. It just uses the last message, first message. And then the conversation summary system can update as it adds it, if that's what you're using. It's just for me anyway, so I think it's like very much turning things off if they're not working is like my current jam. So log summary, if it's not empty, updates it. Log summary being this. Okay, that's cool. So, yeah, as I start new chats, they'll get built out here. I've got a gate to stop and start the conversation cartridge from updating. And the last thing would be like recent notes. Which would be like kind of a weird spot. Like if I go like that, right? So it gives me like the, I can get like things based on last edited. Maybe is that last added? No. So it's something like async def get recent updated cartridges by type, right? And then if I go It's kind of like loadouts. Yo, hello, Randicardo. How you going? So at the moment, I'm making it so that my AI chatbot can see recent notes that we've had open. But my system to handle that type of data is a bit of a mess. So I'm trying to like repurpose this is like this AI chat interface that I've been working on called Nova. You can try it at asknova.ai. And like this system like builds out the context for the agent kind of programmatically, and it's got like past conversations, and like an open note system. And the last thing I want to do is be able to see notes that have been opened recently. Kind of like, you know, if you've got your Apple Notes, it shows kind of like recent conversations and stuff. So this is some like pretty like low level old stuff in the system that I kind of want to remake. If I don't wrote. So a loadout is like a agent AI profile, I guess. So it's like if it's got a loadout, see if it exists, get cartridges. Cartridges are kind of like prompts with rules about how they're interpreted, so it can be then a file or whatever. For loadout cartridge, in loadout cartridges, cart key, so it gets the cartridges that are in that. Okay. No, no, yeah, that's exactly right. Um, like, but the thing is, like, we've got an ongoing, we've got a shared note system, if you see what I mean. Like, these are all our like working documents, so it's like its own little mini OS. But the same principle would be applied to like, I'm kind of thinking about it like how, I look at my Apple Notes, which is somewhere here. So, it's got like pinned yesterday, past 7 days, like, and I can look at that and be like, oh yeah, I kind of know what I'm looking for, but I can also search and stuff like that as well, right? So, like, similar working system for like the shared notes we've got. So this is what the AI sees. This prompt gets generated each message, basically. And I was just looking at my note system and I was like, oh, it'd be cool for the AI to have it. But then you could then apply the same way of passing the system, passing the information to other like document sources, because it's designed to like chunk it and put it into a way that can be read by the AI. So you can have it ideally reading from the notes as well. But right now it's like we've got a shared note pad. And then these are all the past conversations, and it can see those and it can read them. And it's kind of like making like a file system for the AI, I guess. Okay, so, but it's like there's so much old code that I'm like trying to remember. Because right now I just want to get like most recent files. If not, clean slate, not pin cartridge to add. Cart key, loadout cartridge. Where's it getting loadout cartridges from? And then for cartridges to add, where's it getting cart key from? It's almost embarrassing looking at this code in public. If combo cartridges, car key is this, else car key is this. Oh yeah, that's stupid. Okay. Jesus. So I'm just like I'm kind of being lazy. Hey, it just starts with the first script that you initialize, and then you're like, oh, okay, well I can make it. It's all just stacks on stacks. Setup method does not have Wi-Fi. I'm also working with my guys at work, my mates, well, my colleagues. Yeah, that's fine. I didn't do Wi-Fi creds because wasn't sure. Just using for real Wi-Fi. We like have these. We do. I'm a VR developer actually normally, and it's this system that lets you manage. We're trying out the system that lets you manage headsets. Hang on, that's meant to be over here. Like VR headsets remotely, and we've been getting this like server, like multi-headset control system going. So yeah, I'm a VR software developer. Essentially, like a creative technologist. Like, so I like do code and design. So yeah, I was never like, I didn't study coding or anything like that. I just have done heaps of it now. But I'm more like prototyping and testing ideas out. what are you making for GPT with Pi? So I've never run a training, like I just use OpenAI because that's more of a software developer than a AI engineer, if that makes sense. Like, isn't like I kind of get AI, like I want to do like some of like the machine learning kind of stuff, but I haven't done it. One day, probably not. Oh, maybe. Tend to just like, whatever's I'm curious about, I'll just try and put some work into it while I can. Okay, cool. So now I've got the yeah, good code shouldn't look complicated. So cart key is that. So if there's a cart key, get the cartridge. Then if we've got the cartridge, what do I do to the cartridge up here? Get the blob. The blob. Okay. So recent cartridges, cart key, carve out. Yeah, that's cool. I think, yeah, like specific data sets applied to, or like models applied to specific data sets are super interesting. I just like haven't tried it because I guess like I've got ideas about how you can handle the sort of like information flow that an AI is interacting with. So it doesn't really matter which AI I'm using because that's not the product. It's like the thing that it's like I'm building software for the AI to use. I guess return recent cartridge. Sort by last updated first. Am I not? Okay. Hold that thought, Rand Cardo. I'm gonna get a coffee. Wikipedia. Yeah, cool. I'd be curious to see how you're doing that scraping. That's tricky. Information passing, like. Mate, I'm gonna get a coffee. I'll be back in a sec. Oh, I'm so sleepy. Oh, hey, Bonesy. Meow. $130 gig, and I'm poor. What type of GPU do you? That's 30 days. That's a month. But yeah, the electricity, I guess, too. Fuck. I'm gonna turn this server off. What kind of GPU do you have? RTX 3090. It's pretty good. Yeah, I guess that's the tricky thing, right? Sorry, I'm quite tired. I'm always pretty tired. Like, yeah, just the scale of what hardware you need is crazy. Like, I've been using AWS just to get my head around it, and like the idea being like, yeah, a day of an 30, 40 class graphics card would be like $20. So, you know, but you could be like, okay, I'll spend $200 to do X. So it's an interesting mechanism of like price and value discovery that's kind of happening around like information processing. It's kind of a new scale of that same mechanism of figuring out what society will support doing. So it's like, okay, well, you know, if is it worth $200, $300 to turn Wikipedia into a thing? Also, all of the Project Gutenberg ebooks. What's that? Like sounds cool though. Maybe just set and forget it for a month. All right, so meanwhile, I feel like I'm kind of like a game dev, really. Where is this guy? Okay. So it's like the stuff I'm doing is like kind of basic. Not basic, like it's just like if this, that, kind of routing things. Like right now I'm trying to get it to find though I think it's like, it does really connect to like, you know, it's what I kind of like about this is like the information management side of like being able to parse and search and query and index across big information structures is like, I've discovered I find quite interesting, which I didn't really expect to be something that I would be into. But I've had to like tackle it for this, and I've kind of enjoyed it. Search. So this does search, which is here. And then so sorted cartridges. Yeah, keep going. I don't know what that means. That's okay. Well, game devs are somewhere I can pay $20 to nick a VM with a couple of GPUs for like an hour, throw Ubuntu on there and run my Python script. Yeah, so I really, okay, so probably the best option is Lambda for like early, like easy Lambda GPU. Well, maybe it's Lambda. No, it is Lambda, apparently. Though what I would say is like AWS really is like, they just do, as far as I can tell, like lowest cost. It's just really fucking cool. But yeah, I've just been learning about how to run stuff on AWS. It's been cool. I've really enjoyed it. In the kind of weird nightmarish way. So like I make what do I do? Twitter is mine. I'm on Twitter. So like VR dev, and it's like games is a stretch to be honest, but we make like, here we go. So we made this just recently. It's on the Vision Pro. It's like a small early access title. I literally post like 100 times a day on Twitter. It's pretty cool. So this is actually something we made about 5 years ago for mobile, and we ported it to the Vision Pro. We do a lot of like environmental like storytelling, I guess. It's pretty cool. I made digging simulator 2020. This is ages ago now, but I still think it's one of the cooler things I made, just because it's like fun and goofy. Stuff like that. Aw. Thanks, Fornix. I was looking for an example of DS and saw your video. Legend.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I will
Here, have this shovel. It's my grandfather's.
keep at it. Have been working on some other stuff, but this is really motivating. I'm like cursed with just being like really nice. Motivating, like the way I talk and write online, like it's not cool at all. It's like 15 minutes, what a legend. So cool. Was looking for a video of digging simulator and saw someone made a full 15-minute playthrough. Still going strong after 4 years. That's pretty cool. What a lovely guy. Oh, he's got the shovel power up. What a legend. Sorry, I just got so distracted by this. I think it's the best game I ever made. I made it ages ago. But I don't know, sometimes you just hit it out of the park. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like if you use Apple, like it's a great like companion device. Like I would use it as my like computing. I'd use it as my monitor. So we have one for work, and I was like up. We were going to the Apple Labs in Sydney while I was getting pre-built, whatever the word is, like pre-launch. So we got to like work on it and test it, and that was pretty cool. And I got to use it like through the day. I had my own, and I was like using it as the monitor and doing my shit, and it's really cool like how well integrated it is to the Apple ecosystem, if you know what I mean. Like, and so like developing for it, it's not like it's like developing for a computer, where like developing for the Quest is like developing for an Xbox. Both are good. I think that if I did have one to use at work, I'd probably buy one, but I won't because we've got one at work, so I don't need it for my own stuff. But I'm looking forward to maybe the next generation or one after where I'd buy it as a consumer. It's probably the next computer I'll buy. But yeah, work bought that one. So it's easy for me to say. Okay, so get recent updated cartridges by type. That are in active cartridges. Okay. Return only most recent 5. This is my like lazy like coding whatever is I just like make a little comment pseudocode to get the syntax, which is like, I don't know if that's good or bad. Like, I think I guess I'm doing it, so that's what it is. It's kind of the reality of. Hey, actually, so I've never done something like that before, but the video before this, if you watch it, it's me and the developer, Lucas. I've been working with him for like nearly 10 years now, before the current company we worked at and everything like that. And so we kind of like talk about heaps of stuff. We talk about the company we work at now and like what we're doing and the Vision Pro and everything. So we're like testing out like making what like would be a podcast, which is like classic midlife crisis, right? But hey, fuck it. It's just a chance to hang out. It's kind of like as much as anything. We had pizza afterwards. All right, so let's see if this gives us a list of 5 cartridges. Oh no, they need to also be notes as well. So for car key, if car key and active cartridges, delete it. Check if type is not note or media. Thank you. It's funny, like I guess I'm in a bubble where like this is all anyone I know talks about, and so I'm just like, can't fail, not note, not, and so if it's inactive cartridges or not note / media, Carvel type, not in note media. Okay, yeah. I find it interesting, and I'm like, I feel like this is a cool stream to do. Like, it can be a bit boring because I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like, but I feel like it's some interesting stuff in there, right? And I have good chats with people when they come on. I'm glad you find it interesting. Where do you live? Like, not in a weird way, just curious about time zone, and it's like usually people in America and the UK that I'm talking to, that are staying up too late. I've only just recently changed my settings so that it's marked as like not for kids. So I think that previously the videos wouldn't get recommended because while they're happening, because if it's like they don't know if it's not for kids, then they like, I don't know, it's like different rules or whatever. So like maybe it'll get recommended more now, because I've been doing these streams for years, and I was talking to Lucas about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty cool," and I was like, "Yeah, I think so." It's just not something that, I guess it's pretty niche. I'm in Australia. I'm in Melbourne, so it's like a beautiful sunny day. Probably wrap up soon. Just had a baby, so I'm gonna go hang out with him in a bit. Hear my dog barking. Mima, shut up. Yeah, easy. All right. Okay, so how do I get this? Get recent updates. Good girl. There we go. Get recent updated cartridges by type. So now in the memory function, I go await. I just go client loadout. Yeah, I think it was I hadn't set it as anything, and it was like, so I didn't know if it was or wasn't, and so it was just like in this weird limbo. And so I just recently have changed that to um, be like not for kids, like by default. So I hopefully I don't really mind. Like I kind of hit this like point of like I guess disillusionment a couple of years ago now. I guess of like I'd do these streams and like they're pretty low. I think I was doing it more on Twitch as well, and it was like they get deleted or whatever. But then I was just like kept doing it because I kind of like doing it, I guess. So it's I don't really mind that they're not like honestly I don't even know how I would handle it if there was like even if there's two people in the stream, I'm like melting down from stress. But it's been cool being able to go back and see like all my videos. Like I was just thinking because this is Lucas. I was showing him yesterday, and it's like I started doing it at the start of lockdown as something to do, I guess, and like just being able to see the sort of like progression over the years of like what kind of shit I'm working on, and like it's kind of not why I did it. There's a whole phase where I was like streaming with my where is he? Streaming with my dad. Pretty funny. I forgot about this shit. Look, one view, like it's so like low fucking low return or whatever, but look at all this shit. The hacker zone. It's funny. Alright. I forgot what I was doing. Okay, get recent updated cartridges by type. Okay, so get logs from loadout, go to definition is this. So I might go get async def get recent notes from loadout. I guess I'll take all this shit in and then I'll go yeah, I don't think I need to do all that shit. So I'll just do that. Then I'll go fucking hell. Wait. What? What? Wait. Get recent notes from loadout. Put that shit in there. And I can just say recent notes equals this. So it should kind of be sorted, but like I guess we'll see. Like I have to like decipher my own like file structure. Yeah, I think like thinking about it differently, not like it's like the hardcore coders hour, but like it's more like office hours where I'm kind of like opening up the little window next to my computer and people can like pass on by and be like, hey there, everybody. Yeah, I was getting yeah, I think so. Like, and not doing it for like long as well. Like I was doing like 4+ hour streams back in the day, and I'd just be like wrecked. Recent notes equals recent notes. Let's see what happens. All right. So I think that'll do it. So this runs that function that gets the recent notes. It's not sanitized yet, but then like I think most good engineers, coders, whatever, would be like, this is too complicated, but they can suck shit, because then everyone says that, and then they make their own systems and they're complicated. You know what I mean? You're always going to end up with like weird tech debt. Like if you've got an idea and you know what you're doing, sometimes you just got to go for it. I'm 37, so I don't feel old. I feel quite young, but like it's reading people talking about like how they feel old in their 20s like cracks me up. You're as old as your sense of curiosity. Okay, so alright, so we've got overview. If recent notes, but it is a bit like it is a bit overloaded here, where like I have to go like, I think the separation of concerns that's happening here is good. Recent notes, files, whatever. Maybe too old to be making a YouTube stream? I don't think so. So what am I adding? Like if you can see here, it's like cartridges. I'm adding cart key, cart val, the key in the val. So for note, recent notes dot items. Yeah, I think so, and I think there's a big focus on this sort of like idea of like being really successful when you're young, and so then you're sort of passing these thresholds that you've imagined, that you're like, oh, I'm all, like I remember I felt the most washed up when I was like 24, being like, I'm never going to be like the early 20s wonderkin, whatever. And I think it's probably just like an expression of just general sort of internalized pressure we put on ourselves. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's a for key. See, maybe I don't want to add maybe I don't want to add the whole object to the list. Maybe recent cartridges should just be list, and then dot append cart val. So now here we don't have to go, we can just do it like that. Okay. I did a lot, like in the early phases of doing this, I did a lot of like dictionaries I didn't need to, and then like keys and vowels and weird, you like do these little hacks around it that then end up having to be hacked around themselves. So like it's kind of like I guess I'd call it the indexing and identifying kind of like structure of the app, or it's like the thing that holds it together and connects things. It's got like a few layers of abstraction. Yeah, I think it's like I think that you'll find that like there's no success that fills that hole, because you hit it like, and then it immediately the positive feeling goes away. So it's like learning to understand what you value in your day to day and what's important to you, and being able to feel satisfied with that. And then obviously there's the outcomes of like, well, if you're living in line with your values and feeling good, you tend to do well, and that tends to lead to successes or whatever. But you know, figuring out how to, well, it's pretty specific. Like my opinion on it comes from like doing therapy, and then realizing I had these like external, or this internalized pressure of like what I should be doing, and you know what success looks like and stuff like that. And then my therapist went through the idea of like figuring out like, you know, that those things are like, where does that should come from? What does it look like? Like, why does it look like that? And realizing it was just sort of insecurity and wanting to feel like valued and appreciated or whatever. And then she kind of went through like, what you know, what is important to me. And we had this like flashcard of like values being like, you know, kindness or like achievement, and you know, basically ranked them. And then like my top three ended up being learning, humor, like laughing, and kindness being like, you know, positive, like, and then stuff like achievement was still on there, but like lower than I thought. And then like I can sort of regularly just be like, okay, like am I being kind? Am I having fun and laughing? And am I learning stuff? Yeah, great. That's, you know, that feels good continually. And then like I'm not waiting for the hit of like, yes, I did it. That like I was always looking for. And you know, it's like obviously like, well, when Kanye West got his first album, like he probably felt really good compared to me getting like it nominated for some shitty award or whatever. But like, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't last that long. So like figuring out what, you know, it's a good antidote to that pressure, but it's a journey of like finding different, I think it's a lifelong process of finding ways to relate to yourself and the world as well. Like there's no silver bullet. But I find that when my like triggers of like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should be more successful, I feel insecure, it's often then connected to upstream. Like I feel shit because I'm actually just not sleeping enough, I'm not eating good food, I'm not looking after myself. And then those are more like red flags that like something is up. Whereas in the past I'd be like, oh, I better change my job and whatever. And it's like, nah, you just need to go to sleep earlier. Okay, so it's probably gonna crash. So what I'm hoping for is that, well, it just gets the note, so it'll be a fucking win. It seems unlikely, to be honest. But didn't crash. Didn't crash. Summarizing combos. Oh yeah, because it's not even like up to that bit yet. What I need to do more than anything is write like an interpreter so I can send commands directly to the system without having to like restart the server and stuff. It's just, I feel like I've learned so much from doing this. Like I've been working on Nova now for like, I don't know, a year plus, and like I've done like much more I don't know, different types of systems like for games, but like simpler, like more complicated in other ways. Like you have to manage like all these 3D objects and shit like that. But like this is like this system that's always running. It's like kind of like this big, massive multiplayer fucking notepad. And so I've learned just it's crazy to think about how much I've learned from the past year or so of just like putting myself in this position of like managing and maintaining the system. But so yeah, like some of the ways that it handles things now, I'm just like wouldn't do it now. But like I wouldn't make it that everything's so gated behind the sort of main like server thread. I'd have things in like discrete, like stateless functionality that I can just call and trigger from the command line as well. But like it would take X amount of time to switch it to that or port it over or start again, and that's just like not my priority right now. I think, yeah, success comes in whatever form you value. So being able to know what that actually is means you're more likely to get it, if that makes sense. So like, you know, you might think you want to be successful in this like vague caricatured way that connects to your own ego and, you know, the pressure that you probably have from wanting to make your dad, the version of your dad you have in your head, impressed, which won't happen, or mum, or you know, school teacher or whatever. But like if you can tune into like what's important, like I know I love to learn new stuff, and I know that it's really important to me. Like I'd rather not harm someone than benefit. So like kind in that sense, like so it's like it's easier for me to be working in a state that aligns with the things that are right for me, which, you know, the success, I'd love to be successful, I'd love to be popular and cool, and, you know, but really I just want to have enough money to be able to do my own thing and not like have people tell me what to do too much. Yeah, looking to be able to sell as a service, or is it just a journey you're taking? So technically it is for sale, Nova, here. So so it's like, so you can try it out. Like I'd love you to asknova.ai. It comes with a couple of bucks of credit, and it's pretty functional. I use it every day. Dog food, you know. So I'd love to hear what you think. And then it's like tokens, which are basically sold for about like 10% on top of the rate of the token cost for OpenAI. I really haven't had much luck. I've done basically no marketing, except for I guess these streams, but that's not really. And so when you buy the credits, it tops up your little, you've got little coin stacks you get, and then when you get more than 1,000 credits, which is like 50 bucks worth, you get a little treasure chest. I am a bit worried that the payment modal is broken, to be honest. But yeah, I kind of like, I think like I had this sort of idea of like essentially reselling compute with extra functionality, and I think it's viable. It's just not like, I'd rather be working on the system, and I've never made like a e-commerce product like this before, so I kind of wanted to give it a crack, and I sort of did my best. I made onboarding and whatever. It's fucked. Huh, okay. That's good to know. Ask Nova. Sign up, sign in. The main production branch is on like... Oh, that explains a bit. Oh, that's funny. So, the main production branch is on Railway, which I'm phasing out. because they're fine, to be honest. It's like, your app is affected by what? So my whole new like system or whatever is like on AWS, partly for this reason. So, well, no, it's just like I've rewritten it to use AWS, and so I need to phase out Railway. Production completed 5 months ago. Fucking hell. I wonder how long it's been down for. Would explain why I've not had like restart new traffic in quite a while. That's funny. So yeah, like have done a transition to AWS for my server hosting and separated out different functionality into different like servers and stuff like that, so I can run different compute tasks. Can like have different server setups and shit like that, like, you know, working towards being able to do like rendering and I guess like AI stuff on like a more heavy server and with separate functionality. Well, good pickup. Thanks for trying. It should work now. Yeah, give it a go now. Whoops. Ow. It's been... Oh, you know what? Ideally, it wouldn't be doing that. Which app? Okay, yeah, it's not me. Okay, alright. Yeah, cool. Give it a go. Like, it's essentially like an interface for using GPT. And like the idea would be that you can add different models and like you can use different models within OpenAI, so GPT-4o, blah blah blah. But like you could add different, you know, sources and local and run it locally. And so I've been thinking that maybe what I might do, because what I want to do is have it like run locally and offline. Like anyway, like it's built like a desktop app, but it's just like on web, because I was getting sick of trying to like distribute desktop apps and then maybe make it open source and have people contribute, because it's like the model of like selling tokens, I don't know, it's just not working. Like as in like no one's, my boss bought some, but he's like my boss already, so it doesn't matter. Someone tried to buy some like 6 months ago, but the payment crashed because no one had used it for so long. Like that's the thing. It is just like I had a real red hot try to make it like commercially viable. I did like, you know, I made a little video about it and did my best basically, and it's just like not didn't get the traction, and like I think what it needs, like I don't quite have the headspace, especially with having a baby and stuff. So rethinking what it is to maybe making it open source tool, and it's more like a tool, and then I can have the idea out there and share it and use it for work and stuff like that. But like if I could, the thing is that the kind of discipline you need to do like product development is so like you need to really be focused and make the most simple version of what the people need the most, and I just don't feel like doing that. But like it's a good tool. Like I wouldn't use anything else to do the kinds of things I do with it, because like I could configure like different agent modes and then expose them to API endpoints to do different things, and like that's there's nothing else that exists like that, like to the way that I like it, because it's exactly what I know I need in all these different functions. But like to make this like accessible so people can use it is like, you know, you only have so much time in the day. Like I try to prioritize like what I think is going to have the biggest impact, and be realistic about what you can get done. And so I think that's kind of the case with this, where I'm like, yeah, well, I've kind of been able to get it this far with the time I've got. I'd love it if it started making me an extra $1,000 a month. I'm actually about to go back to, I was only working 4 days a week at work, because I was doing family stuff as well. And I'm actually going back to 5 days a week next month, because I've just been like, all right, back to, you know, they'll pay me like, well, it's like the multiplier on what I earn from Nova. You can't even do it because it makes no money. But, you know, I had a crack at it. It'd be cool if it was like some sort of like, but I don't know if I could even handle, like if there was a big uptick in paying users, I don't even know if the cost equation works out properly. I might just end up losing more money. I think it's right. I just love coding. I realized I don't really, which is all just me make myself feel better because I didn't make it successful, right? But I'd love to be like a cool, successful founder with a cool product that makes heaps of money and stuff, but no luck so far. But yeah, you can buy these Nova coins, and then the more you get, it becomes a treasure chest, and I think that's why you can see in that why like maybe it's not a successful product, because I haven't spent enough time on like user research, and I'm just like making like dynamic coin stacks and shit. But I'm having fun. Okay, so why did this crash? I keep remembering I'm like helping someone remotely at the same time. Okay, that's good. That's good. 4 headsets running. Yeah, it'd just be good. Like, we've just got a baby, and like my wife's not working, and like is looking after him, and it's awesome. And like we're just sort of, you know, just getting by, like an extra $1,000 a month. Like, well, the dream would be, honestly, would be an extra $10,000 a month, and it's my full-time job, and I can live in the bush with my family and make software and just potter around. That's the dream. And you know, I know that that's what I'm working towards, but I'm not like, I'm not uncomfortable while I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? Alright, so why did this crash? List has no items. Recent cartridges, items, recent cartridges. Okay, yeah, so sorted. So maybe it does need to be, god damn it. It does need to be that, which just means that for key val in cartridge dot items, hang on, I'll just rename that to, and it's funny how life works out. Like I was kind of like doing all this stuff to hopefully product discovery and become like, yeah, so the prompt works like, basically everything in a chat with an AI is a prompt, right? So every time you send a message, it's sending the message plus all the other messages as well as the prompt. And like it's kind of handled in a way that's efficient or whatever, but it constructs like the the prompt each time, and so you can dynamically modify the prompts as you're going. So if you look, these are all different. So these are different prompts. You are Nova is like this sort of, you know, like the sort of top, like whatever. Here's my rules for like how to not be a dipshit. Like, and then I can like bring these into different loadouts, like stuff that works. They're like kind of transferable, whatever. The settings cartridge is like it's more like settings and stuff like that, but they are modified each time you every time you chat, it runs it through all these, I call them cartridges because they're like little mini programs. And then like this is a note prompt, so it's like a file cartridge. So like basically these cartridges are all different types of prompts that affect the conversation. And so if you look down here, if you're in full screen, you'll see there's this little preview icon. I just use it for debugging. You can see how the prompt's getting constructed. So this gets sent, and this is true for all AI, like chat AI stuff, is that like it's sending the entire conversation each time. And so like that's how it can, you know, remember what's going on. It doesn't have like a memory, so to speak. It's just the context, and the context window gets longer as you talk longer. And as you add reference files, but like, you know how a conversation can get killed because you've like dumped in a bunch of documents, whereas like I feel like you should be able to turn documents on and off, and then it's handling like how the AI responds to the way that I'm structuring. So like if you look here, these are those cartridges combined together. So it puts the prompts together first, then it like based on some settings, it includes like context, like the date and, you know, the name of the person you're talking to. Then it shows the notes that are open in the context, and then it shows the like recent conversations, which shouldn't show. Oh, hang on, this is the old version, isn't it? But yeah, you know what I mean. And then you can see here, it's got like, here's the chat, like user assistant, blah, 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 whatever. Like that's in all, well, you can see the tokens getting used down the bottom, and that's what I mean. You can like manage the context to get the results you want. So it's like, okay, I really need to maintain the entire code base in the context. I can see that it's using 5,000 tokens. I'm in a agent mode that can handle 30,000. Okay, that's fine. So it's like tools to really finely control all those things and visualize them and stuff like that, which is very specific to like, it's like problems I know you have. Yeah, it does, but you can like it depends if you want to have what you want to have in context, right? Like you might want it to have the very start and it can take a bit longer or whatever. It's all pretty quick. But you can then like condense and collapse parts of the conversation selectively. Like, so if you look here, this has been like condensed into like a summary, right? So then you can just have the summary of that section versus the raw text, which is some of that stuff I was working on earlier. And like, you can then like mute and unmute parts of the conversation as well. So you can sort of like control it. Yeah. So it's like the the running window of the most recent stuff. There's all different ways you can do it, right? And I just want to make like controls to like test different ways and set them up in different ways, and then like ideally like what I want to do is give the AI the ability to self-manage and say like, oh, okay, I don't need the rest of this conversation now. I'm done with it. I'll turn it off for now. And then be like, oh, hey, what were we saying? And it can go back and search its own notes and shit like that. And then you just don't have to worry about it. So it's like, ideal world, no one sees any of this stuff. But like, I need a tool to configure the behaviors that would then but I want, I need a tool to configure the behaviors that would make the AI I want to make, but I want to make it so that an AI can use the same tools. So it's a GPT interface. I guess like I'm a game dev and I'm used to using stuff like Unity and they're pretty technical like engines, I guess, or like UIs for particular design mode. So it's like these are kind of like prefabs almost of like AI behaviors and stuff. All right. So let's see if that now works. And it's yeah, look, it's I've kind of that's where I realized like people are like, oh, you should just focus on the like to make it a product, right, to sell like or whatever. It's like this mode of like finding, you know, like user whatever blah blah blah, and that's all good. Like I like to do that, but I'm really passionate about this particular idea that's like almost a hobby horse, in the sense that like I have this idea about how like a language model can interact with like content and functions and the user, and I really want to like see it through to a point I'm happy with, in a way that like doesn't necessarily connect to directly selling it. But then maybe I can use the tool, like I've used this tool to configure stuff for work projects and all right, so that didn't crash, which is good. Let's see if it's got the past notes. So the last thing I'm trying to do is like add the recent notes so that when you start a new conversation, it can see notes that you've started recently and be like, oh yeah, okay, like let me read that one. Because at the moment, when you start a new conversation, there's two different modes, like clean slate or not. This is in the like conversation settings. Like it's so complicated. It's like the work of a madman maybe. But if you don't have the AI in clean slate mode, if you've got documents open when you talk to it, they'll stay open. So if you start a new conversation, which can get a bit overloaded, but with clean slate, when you start a new conversation, it starts with an empty palette of notes, except for notes that you've pinned. But I also want to have it be able to see like recent notes. But these are all like under the conversation cartridge. Like if you imagine this is like a little program that's plugged into the AI. So that like there's still a like persistent file like state for each conversation. So if you go back to a conversation, it opens the notes that were open in that conversation, but it can still see recent notes as like oh, this is what we're talking about recently. It's like an experiment as well, I guess. Like I have these ideas and experiment, I put them in there, and like I was like looking at how I use my own notes, and I was like, well, I could get that in there. So so then the idea with a cartridge being like functionality, like it's like a prompt that is modified by the structure. It's just a JSON object, right? And so then like it's the functionality, like it like the conversation, the summary cartridge triggers certain behaviors at the start of the conversation, summarizes stuff, whatever, and also stores like outputs, and then they can then be added to other conversations and agents. So it's like you could be like, okay, I'm going to create a like sort of snapshot of conversations for this agent, but then have them be queryable by another agent, stuff like that. So it's like the cartridge is like a little mini data store program, whatever. It's just a JSON object. I just had this image when I was first using AI, basically, of like little cartridges kind of like slotting in and out as you're like doing stuff and talking to them, and it goes and that's kind of the okay. So is this So it's basically not found the recent notes, which is fine. So I'm just going to go easy print, sorted cartridges. I was just thinking that. I was like, this guy isn't staying up too late because it's England. Yeah, no, it's great. Great to meet you. Thanks for hanging out. Please do. Yeah, generally like it's my Friday morning. It's like my dev time, and it's at like tomorrow, kind of similar time, probably more now with if I start work again. But yeah, good chat, man. Look forward to seeing some of your whatever you're cooking. Get it hosted, hit it as an endpoint with Nova, add it as a data source. Why not? Yeah, I gotta go hang out with my baby. I was actually honestly like, I'll probably pack it in, and then you jumped on. So I was like, all right, keep cooking. See ya. Let's just see if we get the recent notes. Okay, I might just turn off the other bits for now. They really are their own thing. It's like it's not the spot for them, but I just don't know where else. To put them. Um, I guess it didn't crash then, which is promising. Console summary. Logs, blocks. It didn't add anything either. That doesn't matter. Okay, so that didn't crash, which is good. Hey, recent notes. So it's getting added as a list of the key and the object. It's a bit weird. So if I go to, I kind of like drifted off a bit here. Sorry, everybody. So how do I do it down here? I go get cartridge list, which looks like cartridge list, append val, whole cartridge list, key val. So then it goes match cartridges is that. So it is key val. Oh my god. Then it goes for key val and then for val. Why? It's like that. Oh my god. Okay. It's fucking dumb. So I've kind of stitched myself up here a bit. Add cartridge, get cartridge list. Okay, let's just look at what we've got. I just figured out how I've done it now. So I feel like it's, this is what it is, so. Why would it look like this? So recent cartridges is this. Which is then getting called by this fucking thing. Which is just this, which is fine. So it's definitely here that's the problem, right? And recent cartridges is a dictionary. So I guess it's this sorted, which is kind of what was happening before. Okay, so could I go dot append cart val, make that a list, remove that, and then sorted cartridges should then be for val if val dot get that's such a nightmare. Key if type then remove just val, I guess. All right, let's see if that works. Okay, then we can go, so I made it all the way here, which is great. So we can go dot, dot, dot. But it's still doing that, which is not good. Why? Maybe it didn't make it to the end of that cycle. Okay, makes sense. Okay. Oh, so it needs to be labeled? Yo! Yes.